When I used to work with people struggling with addiction, a few things stood out to me among many. And one of the things that stood out to me was discipline. They would say things like, I cannot go back to that neighborhood because if I go back to that neighborhood, I will be tempted to use again. Or I'm planning on moving out of the area because this whole area is a trigger to me to use. And so they would leave the area, literally go to another state. Or, Leanne, I can't even accept social engagements where there's a bar because I know I'm not in a space where I can handle it. I may be too triggered to want to drink. And then they'd feel pressure also from friends and family that would say something to them like, well, if you're working your program, you're supposed to work it. Why can't you just come to the cookout where there's beer? Where there's the uncle that, drinks a little bit too much. What's the big deal? You know how Uncle so and so is. Pressure. So, this is why sometimes people have to remove themselves from situations so that they can create that discipline. I say this because I think about some of you who are out here dating. If you know you're struggling with something like boundaries, and someone says to you on your second date, all right, so why don't I go back to your place and we can just watch something on your couch and we can just hang out? And if you feel that this is something you struggle with because you feel pressure and you really like the person and you don't want to lose the connection, if you know that that is an area of struggle, you want to already be ready with a response. And it can be something like this: I don't do that. No explanation. I don't do that because it's only the second day, and I'm a Christian, and I was brought up in a certain way. Yada yada yada. You don't have to explain anything. Remember, these people are strangers until you get to know them. So if someone says something like that to you, I don't do that. That's it. If the person goes, oh, you know what? Come on, it's not a big deal. We're grown. We're grown. I'm not gonna touch you. I'm just gonna hang out with you in your house. You want to come to my house? Do we feel more comfortable? You have all the information you need. When you communicate a boundary and the other person pushes past it, you're done. So no worries about becoming emotionally attached or becoming overwhelmed and anxious and does he like me and what did I do? It doesn't matter. You date what you value. If you value your vessel and that's a boundary, you don't have to explain it and you don't have to go on another date. He has already given you that information. Of course, this works vice versa. This happens to men too in different ways. Okay? So if you know that pressure with boundaries is a area that you struggle with, already be prepared with the truth, your values. Gotta go. Ciao.